applications in between applications. Let me finish with Kombo Central. Please, Central Badibu. Kombo, Kiang Central. Yes, can you reframe it in a motion form, and then we will proceed. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want the Honorable Minister for Defense I want to move a motion for the Honorable Minister to clarify to this August Assembly whether the deployment of 625 soldiers to the Gambia from the Republic of Senegal is true.
I will allow the motion. Now, it's in the motion form. Any seconder? Seconder? Yes, Central.
Yes, I rise to second the motion.
Sorry. It has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Minister of Defense clarify to this assembly or confirm, I want to use your words, that 625 economic soldiers are to be deployed. Senegalese soldiers. You see, that's why it's always good to write these things, so that I don't want to misquote anybody. And I want to repeat what you have said verbatim. So that Hansard will also get it right. Thank you. But step by step and listen. We will follow the correct procedure, but we cannot be jumping right, left, and center.
Honorable Speaker, I have a question, if you allow me.
I want to complete.
No, I don't want us to treat this one individually, because when you say Senegalese, we have economic in the country. So we cannot identify a country and say a country is coming.
Honorable member, please order. I am not taking any interventions as of now. As of now, please.
I think it's also my right to ask for clarification. Because that's the responsibility. That's why he moved the motion.
Honorable, there's a motion on the floor.
The motion on the floor, I have a right to be clear.
If you want to take the chair, then you can come
I don't want
and
to take the chair.
In which case, can you please take your seat? Thank you.
Chairman, Honorable Speaker, you're not fair. No.
Can you please withdraw that statement? Please, can you withdraw that statement?
For the sake of...
No, okay, can you withdraw that statement that I am not fair? Withdraw that statement, please.
I withdraw the statement.
Thank you very much.
But it doesn't affect me.
Madam Speaker, order.
Let's finish this. We should just all try to use parliamentary language. You know. Now, it has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Minister of Defense clarify or confirm whether it is true that 625 Senegalese soldiers are to be deployed to the Gambia. That was the motion, and that was what was seconded. And I have allowed the motion. Now we have to put it to the vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Thank you. Now, Honorable Minister, can you clarify or confirm that 625 Senegalese soldiers are to be deployed to the Gambia? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable members here present. I am not aware of any reinforcements coming from Senegal. What I am aware of is that there is a rotational annual change that happened last year and is now 1 year. They're doing the routine change, and I'm aware of that. Thank you.
Very much, that's the end. It has been clarified. Where do we, yes.
Invite him to move his motion.
Yes, Clerk, can we proceed now? Thank you.
Motion, be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty by the Honorable Minister for Defense.
Mike. You move your motion. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, since the Gambia has signed the said treaty in April 2003. Honorable Speaker, in pursuance of Article 2, Paragraph 1 of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons and the Declaration of the Gambia Armed Forces, A, that it has never owned, possessed, or controlled nuclear weapons or nuclear explosive devices, and has never had a nuclear weapon program or nuclear weapon-related facilities prior to the entry of this treaty. And B, notwithstanding Article 1A of the treaty, it does not own, possess, or control any nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices. And C, Article 1G of the treaty, that there are no nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices in its territory or any place under its jurisdiction or control that own, possess, or controlled by another state. Honorable Speaker, I would like this August Assembly to consider and ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, cognizant of the fact that the damages it can cause not only to human lives and properties, but also to the environment. The effects of nuclear radiation will take years, and its effects can affect the unborn generation. This will also ensure that the Gambia will not allow any importation and test of nuclear explosive into its territory or any place within its jurisdiction. It is worthy to note that the Gambia is the only country in West Africa and among 4 countries worldwide that have not ratified this treaty. Once the treaty is signed, the Gambia, like other signatories, will benefit from various capacity training programs, workshops, seminars, and conferences. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this August Assembly kindly ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty.
Sorry. Yes, Fonyi Brevet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion. Honorable Speaker, with your permission, let me just take a few minutes to contribute towards the timely lane of this very important treaty before this August Assembly. Madam Speaker, I think we do not need to belabor too much. The effects of nuclear weapons is not a secret to any human being. And those who have read the European history will remember that in 1948, when the Americans dropped a nuclear bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the effects of that nuclear bomb was beyond human imagination. And as a result, it's important that all civilized nations support this act so that we can preserve our unborn generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I'll now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Now, those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Now, honorable members, anyone who wishes to take part in the debate may do so by raising his or her tag. I already have a list, and I start with Woolley West on my list.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, independence and sovereignty are vital to any geopolitical entity that calls itself a nation. And any nation which is incapable of defending itself is a weak nation. It is a nation which is a prey to other nations. One would have thought that the first country to sign this treaty would have been the United States of America. But in the list, the United States has not ratified it. The best way to defend this planet that we call our world is for each nation to have the capacity to defend itself. If all the nations in the world were like the United States and Soviet Union or Russian Federation, no one would dare to go and attack another nation because we would know that they have the same capacity as yourself. We are all living witnesses to what had happened in the Middle East when the United States and allies attacked Iraq for having certain weapons. But the weapons that they have, nobody has that in the world. And that's why I'm very surprised by the last words of the Honorable Minister. I read, Madam, once the treaty is signed, the Gambia, like other signatories, will benefit from various capacity training programs, workshops, seminars, and conferences. What are these going to serve to our country? Seminars on what? Conferences on what? Workshops on what? Today, what we should be talking about is to develop our scientists. We must develop the capacity to develop all these weapons that they have in their possession. North Korea is now feared because they have developed their capacity. Iran is feared because they also have developed their capacity. But the poor Gambia, like, you say we have nothing, we have never possessed, and we will never. Who tells you that we will never possess it? We are in the process of developing science and technology in this country. There is nothing that prevents us from developing our capacity to create nuclear weapons because we don't want to be toiled and moiled by any nation. So for me, this is like telling me, take a knife and cut your throat. Be somebody that I can trample a foot. Just be like a toy in my hand in the world. We know what has been happening. all throughout the so-called Cold War, there was war between only two contending forces, the Soviet Union on one hand and the United States on the other. All the others were victims. And they nearly plunged us into the Third World War over Cuba, because the United States did not want Cuba to be itself. And because Cuba was backed by the Soviet Union at the time. Yes, I agree, these weapons are destructive, they are bad, but there are few who have them. And because they have them, they always impose their will on the others because of possessing those weapons. We call ourselves sovereign nations. That's why North Korea has decided to go out of that slavery. And they have developed. And Iran has also developed. Will they go and fight them? Trump, with all the madness that he demonstrated in the world, never decided there to go and attack North Korea. Because they know what was there. So, for me, there is nothing that prevents this fantastic small republic from developing elite scientists who will have the capacity to create all these things that we need. Not to destroy anybody, but to show that we can also defend ourselves. We are talking about deploying forces from somebody into the Gambia. Even if that is not true, but we know there are some forces here. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is like a joke to me, because we call ourselves sovereign countries, sovereign nations, independent, but each time there's a problem, we are always going to them. Look what has happened in Mali. When the crisis occurred there, they had recourse to what? France. And France came and did what they wanted. All the mineral resources in Mali. To a point now that the whole population is against the president of France in Mali. But they are there simply because they have the means to defend that. What about ourselves? We must develop those means. That is what independence is about, your capacity to defend yourself. How can you be independent? How can you be independent? And then you always ask somebody to come and defend you. Does that make sense? This is a trick. It's a trick we must go out of. We must develop Africa, must develop the capacity to defend itself. The continent of Africa must have that capacity. And that is why we are not members of the United Nations. The whole continent of Africa does not have a seat in the Security Council. Does that make sense? Tiny country like France has a seat in the United Nations. The whole continent of Africa. You can fit the whole of Europe in the Sahara Desert. The whole of Europe can go into the Sahara Desert. Just a fraction of that has a seat in the United Nations. The whole continent of Africa does not have a seat in the United Nations. And we sit here, we are happy about that. That is why everything is going wrong in the world. Because we have no voice. That is what must stop. This must not happen. They have the weapons, we don't have. Why do we have to sign? We don't have to sign what? Sign a check that you don't own, you don't have. Are you willing to sign a false check? Sign it. We are the eyes and the minds of this republic. We are the minds and eyes of this republic. We are the eyes and minds of the continent of Africa. We must see that this continent must go out of this slavery of dependence. We must. If we don't, then we are not worthy to be members of this parliament in the continent. So we must. They are tricking us. It is now time we went out of this trickery. And we must, if you want to be sovereign and independent. I'm not advocating for war. I want to be understood that I'm not advocating for war. I'm advocating for the development of your capacity in order not to be trampled afoot by other sovereign so-called nations. That is what I'm saying. We will sign it only if we have the capacity to do it. We don't have it. And you are telling us we will not have it. Science and technology don't belong to anybody. We must take it and use it for our purpose. We must not allow, we can't, in fact, they will never do it. This continent is already programmed. So technically programmed, you don't know. This continent has been programmed to stay poor, impoverished, underdeveloped. Don't you know that? For them, the development of this continent is to their detriment. But for us, we will not be like them. The world, we must come together and develop for our mutual interest. We must come together and develop our world in our common interest. But for them, wallahi, their program is fixed. And the fixed program is that Africa must stay where it is. We must keep Africa at bay because that is what is in the fundamental interest of Europe, East, West, Asia. Any other place other than Africa. That is the program. World Bank, IMF, all these institutions, you think they are there to help you. No! They are their instruments to keep you at bay. They were designed to keep us at bay. That is what serves their interest. And that's what we must recognize, and that's what we must fight against. If we don't need to exist, because we exist only as slaves. I would like to quote one of the presidents. We prefer independence in poverty than opulence in servitude. I'm very unhappy. Because if you see at this, all those poor, weak countries have ratified, they have signed, they have ratified. China has not ratified, according to the text. Korea has not ratified. India has not signed, has not ratified. India has the nuclear weapon. They have a capacity that we don't have. They have not signed and they have not ratified, according to the text. Pakistan also has neither signed nor ratified. And of course, the United States of America has signed, not ratified. And you are all aware the refusal of the United States to sign that protocol on this carbon emission in the world. They have refused to sign it. That's even more dangerous than this nuclear weapon because that's every day it is happening. Every day it is happening. This one happens occasionally, but that one is happening every day, and they refuse to sign it. Now they have all this. That's one type of way only they have it. It gets into a house and it kills you on your bed. Nothing happens to even your bed sheet, nothing happens to it. They have that weapon. It goes into your house, kills you, and leaves everything intact. They have that. Nobody has it, but they have it. And yet, they are the ones who always refuse to sign. We have nothing. It's like you are insulting us. Sign what? We have nothing to sign. We have no weapon. We are not war inclined. We don't want to colonize anybody. We don't want to be an imperialist nation on anybody. So why do you have to come and tell us, sign something that has no purpose for us? Madam Speaker, I am opposed to the signing of this ratification of this document. It serves no purpose for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, we have before us a treaty agreement which the executive wants the National Assembly to ratify. And of course, it is the ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, CTBT, Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. According to the mover, Gambia is the only country in West Africa that did not ratify this treaty, and 4 among the world that did not do so. But I want to say that it's not only 4, because according to the text, what we have here is that the countries that did not sign and ratify at all, for the benefit of those that are listening, or the benefit of the nation, I want to read them out. Bhutan did not sign and ratify. It's just the beginning. I think if you look at, you flip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th page. There's no numbering there with regards to it. Bhutan did not sign and ratify. Dominican People's Republic, Democratic People's Republic of Korea did not sign and ratify. Dominica did not sign and ratify. Dominica in the Caribbean did not sign and ratify. India did not sign and ratify. Mauritius did not sign and ratify. Pakistan did not sign and ratify. Saudi Arabia did not sign and ratify. Somalia did not sign and ratify. Those that signed but did not ratify are Yemen. They signed but did not ratify. United States of America, they signed but did not ratify. Tuvalu signed but did not ratify. Timor-Leste, that's East Timor, signed but did not ratify. In fact, Syria, Arab Republic, did not sign, did not ratify. Sri Lanka signed but did not ratify. South Sudan did not sign and did not ratify. Solomon Islands signed but did not ratify. Papua New Guinea signed, did not ratify. Nepal signed, did not ratify. Israel signed but did not ratify. Iran, Islamic Republic, signed, did not ratify. Yes, India, they signed, as I said, did not sign and did not ratify. Gambia is in the league of those who signed but did not ratify. Equatorial Guinea signed and did not ratify. Egypt signed and did not ratify. China signed but did not ratify. I am reading this out to show that there is geopolitics in this. This is all part of the remnants of the Cold War, or the consequence of the Cold War. Countries that are proxies, you can see the dynamics. We all know that nuclear weapons are a threat to human existence. We have seen what it did in 1948 when the United States dropped 2 bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. That neutralized the Japanese Imperial Army that dominated Asia at the time. They were in league with Hitler and Mussolini. That's the three axes. So, and it was meant to show the world the power of the United States. And that is what, in fact, ensured their hegemony from then on. You can see countries like Japan, and particularly India and Pakistan, because they are proxies during the Cold War. None of them ratified the treaty. And they have nuclear weapons, both countries. Israel too, is a proxy that is used in the Middle East. They have a nuclear weapon. What we are being told is that some countries have it and some countries should not have it. I have no qualms with the treaty. As I said, nuclear weapons can be used destructively, but nuclear energy can also have peaceful purposes, can have benefits. If the treaty is to ban weapons that is used to annihilate human beings, I am fully in support. But banning nuclear studies, nuclear research altogether is not what I will support. As you know, Gambia now, we are contending with energy challenges, NAWEC. Nuclear energy can also be clean. Some call it dirty energy, but it can also be clean, I guess. So for such purposes, nuclear energy can be put to good use. And I would really support what the member for Woolly said, that what Gambia should do now is to invest in research. We must encourage our scientists, we must support our scientists, we must develop research in all the areas of human study, human endeavor. We must invest in research. Even research in nuclear energy, not for militaristic purposes, but for development, because we need energy to develop. I have no qualms Gambia ratifying the treaty, because if you look at Article 45, which is Article 9, which is on page 45. May I refer this August Assembly to page 45? Article 9 states duration and withdrawal. 1. This treaty shall be of unlimited duration. 2. Each state party shall, in exercising its national sovereignty, have the right to withdraw from this treaty if it decides that extraordinary events related to the subject matter of this treaty have jeopardized its supreme interests. Jeopardize its supreme interest. Withdrawal shall be effected by giving notice 6 months in advance to all other states parties, the Executive Council, the Depository, and the United Nations Security Council. Notice of withdrawal shall include a statement of the extraordinary event or events which a state party regards as jeopardizing its supreme interest. For me, I am always wary of compromising our sovereignty. So I always look into this agreement to see whether there is this clause that does not derogate our sovereignty, that we can withdraw. We can opt out. We can opt in and we can opt out. If we sign the treaty and at any point we see that it is jeopardizing our interests, our sovereign interests as a nation, we can opt out, as provided for by Article 9 of the treaty on page 45. As I said, Gambia cannot be isolated, but as a nation, we must also jealously guard our sovereignty. Anything that it takes to ensure that our sovereignty is never compromised, we should do. If you go to the United Nations General Assembly, of course, the arrangement there with regards to the Security Council, where you have some more important than the others. But with regards to the General Assembly, we are all equal. Gambia is as sovereign as China, as sovereign as United States of America, as United Kingdom, as France, as South Africa. Notwithstanding our numbers, our size, we are equal at the level of the General Assembly. What we should also be promoting is to promote for a world of equality. Not all of big brothers and small brothers or younger brothers. As a nation, we are equal. There is no big brother in terms of nationhood. And of course, Honorable Minister, I would also agree with the Honorable Member for Willie West that our interest in signing this treaty should not be these pecuniary benefits that stated. We don't need training on workshops on what? Of course, training, we may need capacity building if there is any, in terms of the scientists that we want to develop. If we can get assistance to develop our scientists, to develop our scientific research efforts, we welcome it. So, if this can be rephrased, that Gambia's one of the benefits is that, well, the nuclear test ban treaty or Gambian, this nuclear watchdog would be assisting countries to be able to develop nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. Gambia can push for that. And then to also do everything that is possible to ensure that these nations that did not ratify the treaty. Because that's the challenge. You are asking me not to, whilst others are not acceding to it. And they can use it to engage in aggression, because it is for defense purposes, but they can also use it to engage in aggression. And then you're asking me not to get myself, prepared to build the defense. Because of course, it's a deterrent. Once you have the nuclear power, nuclear weapons, it's a deterrent. No nation would dare to attack you, because if it does, it's going to be collateral damage. You come attack me, annihilate me, I can also equally do that. Because nuclear weapon, that is what it does. But of course, we are not oblivious of the danger, the harm that it does, because if you go to Nagasaki, you can still see the signs. The land, there are some parts that are not generating. Nothing can grow there in terms of plants. You can see deformities in human beings. The radiation, the effects of it. The Chernobyl, the disaster that happened, if you go there now, you see what these weapons, destructive weapons, that the negative science had resulted to. Science can be used to advance humanity, to advance the world, to ensure prosperity, to ensure peace, but it can also be used for destructive purposes, as the nuclear weapon. So, as I said, I am not opposed to Gambia ratifying the treaty, but we must also have that in mind that as a sovereign country, we can always opt out if we feel that what is taking place is to our disadvantage. And I would want to urge this country to really focus on scientific research. Scientific research. We need a peaceful world. We don't need military aggression, but we need to defend ourselves. And defending ourselves is not only through weapons. We can develop human beings who have capacity to convince others, people who others can respect. let's develop our country so that we'll be respected and loved by everybody. So there'll be no need for us to engage in aggression, but we can defend ourselves. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I thank you for giving me the floor. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Honorable Member for Kiang Central.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Briefly, Honorable Speaker, I think my belief or the conviction I have is that the nuclear weapons contributes to the destruction of our environment, not only human life, and then any attempt to ban it or to control it is certainly a step in the right direction. Honorable Speaker, effective prevention of proliferation of nuclear weapons is a step in the right direction. I think the world is now aware of the dangers that are associated with the use of nuclear weapons. We must refrain from the use of nuclear weapons. The harm done by nuclear weapons, Honorable Speaker, cannot be quantified. Therefore, I want to believe that it is high time that the Gambia, as a small nation in Africa, though like the Honorable Minister said, we are not in possession. We must encourage and then we must help in any effort that will help in maintaining peace, in strengthening peace in the continent, rather than help any effort or any move that will really help gear towards having or maintaining any item or anything that is destructive to human life, that is destructive to the environment. If indeed we are going to benefit from anything nuclear, must be the use of the nuclear energy, like the Honorable Member for Banjul North said. We must work, we must try to find out, and then we must also contribute effectively we must also contribute effectively towards the maintenance, towards the strengthening of peace in the world. Honorable Speaker, the issue of nuclear weapons is certainly something that we must look into critically. And Gambia as a nation, I don't think we have even the capacity, like somebody said, Honorable Member said, we have the capacity, or even if we have the capacity, all our efforts should be geared towards maintaining peace, not to promote anything that is destructive. So I want to believe certainly the motion is a non-controversial one, and I'll urge the honorable members to support it. Honorable Speaker, with that note, I beg to take my seat.
Jara East, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I rise to contribute my quota on the ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, CTBT. Honorable Speaker, creation is normally done in pairs. That is the good and the bad. Madam Speaker, so is this nuclear weapon issue. It has its own merits and demerits. Honorable Speaker, nuclear weapon could be destructive on the one hand, but also helpful on the other hand. Honorable Speaker, as a nation, we cannot afford to stand on our own. And this is why It is always said that the world is a global village. Honorable Speaker, we cannot afford to be an island. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty for the simple reason that from the environmental point, Honorable Speaker, you understand that, with your permission, it reads, I would like this August Assembly to consider and ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, cognizant of the fact that the damages it can cause not only to human lives and properties, but also to the environment. The effects of nuclear radiation would take years, and its effects can affect the unborn generation. Honorable Speaker, we owe it to the generation yet unborn to protect their life and their livelihoods. It does not require much intelligence to know the way and manner our environment is being abused, time without number. Honorable Speaker, we are living in an endangered environment. So when we have this nuclear test ban treaty, it will help us in sanitizing our already endangered environment. Honorable Speaker, and we must be cognizant of the generation yet unborn, because the lot is on us to protect their lives and livelihoods. Honorable Speaker, nuclear weapons, the way and manner they destroy the world, Honorable Speaker, does not require much intelligence. Speakers before me had mentioned, and they cited examples of Hiroshima. The way and manner, the effect has impacted on their lives and livelihoods. And I think that's ample, justification for us to give a thumbs up to this ratification, to say yes, because the effects has far-reaching implications. It has far-reaching implications. It can stay with us for quite a long time. Honorable Speaker, therefore, we must think twice, because in anything that you have the ups and the downs. Nuclear energy also is useful, Madam Speaker. It can be used in terms of having electricity. That is useful. We don't have to look at only the negative side, but like I said, it also has the positive side as well. In this part of Africa here, electricity is a problem. It's a perennial problem. So when we have this nuclear energy, it will help us in addressing the problems associated with our energy sector. Honorable Speaker, I agree entirely with other speakers that we need to, develop our science and technology domain. That is very important. Despite being a fledgling institution or a department, we need to put, more efforts. We need to, capacitize our people. We need to send them, for overseas training, so that they can come and work in that, sector. It is very key. And I have no doubt, because it has been mentioned in this document, that once the treaty is signed, the Gambia, like other signatories, will benefit from various capacity training programs, workshops, seminars, and conferences. And I know this workshops or training, is going to be centered on developing the human resource base of the country. That's my take. And I think that's the language of the document. They will build the capacity of our people to higher heights. And that's a plus. Honorable Speaker, with those few words, I want to thank the mover for having the foresight to bring before us this important document. And I would urge my colleagues to give a thumbs up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brika Masao.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think the document before us, to me, is non-controversial. This ratification of a comprehensive nuclear test ban. If you look at it technically, Madam Speaker, the emphasis is laid on two areas, that is the nuclear weapon and explosive, which everybody here agreed that this is not good for the environment. And the problem with the nuclear explosive and weapons, they do mass killing, not only to human beings, but to our immediate environment with all the animals. And also this seriously affects our environment too, in terms of production. They are all destroyed. And to me, I am very much comfortable with this since it's non-controversial. And there is this specific clause that is talking about the withdrawal. So the withdrawal clause is very important, depending on if a state party feel threatening the supreme interest is being jeopardized. You can withdraw. So there is nothing wrong with this. And I would like to the minister to make some emphasis with regards to whether this might not actually affect our ability as a developing country to make serious research in the area of energy for our personal development. If you can make some emphasis here. Other than that, Madam Speaker, I think I am in agreement with the treaty and it's non-controversial. Since this specific clause is there, that is calling for withdrawal if the supreme interest of the country is being jeopardized. On that note, I thank you, and I'm in full support.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Woolly East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have spent the night looking at this document. But I think with all its controversy internationally, it's my belief that a small country like the Gambia, small size, small population, and geopolitically where we are located, it is better to take caution, not to engage in any form of nuclear activity. It's not good for our country. It's not good for our environment. It's not good for our properties, and it will create a lot of suspicion. And in my belief, Honorable Speaker, we should not create any suspicion that we are engaged in such an enterprise. Honorable Speaker, nuclear weapons are very dangerous weapons, and that's why the world is thinking about eradicating it, because it can annihilate the whole world. It can end the world. That is the key thing there. Nuclear weapons can eliminate the world. It can end the world. It can end life on Earth. And such a dangerous thing should not be encouraged to continue. I believe the objective or the tactic of the world is to allow all other countries that do not have nuclear weapons to come together and come up with a treaty like this, so that when we come together, we'll be able to exert the moral authority on those who have it to undo what they have, so that the world can become more and more free and more peaceful. We can fight our territories, we can defend our territories, etc. But we should not be able to engage in an enterprise that can completely eliminate all of us. I don't think that is the objective of wars. You can fight a war, take a booty here, that time, occupy a territory for some reason or something. But the objective should not be to eliminate humanity on Earth. That's how I understand it. Honorable Speaker, I agree with member for Woolly East, member for Banjul North, that the objectives or the benefits that we are going to accrue from this treaty, we should instead put the bigger picture rather than the training and all this. Yes, we know those things are there, but the bigger picture is to protect ourselves, to protect our environment, to protect our people, to protect our properties. That is the bigger picture. Because any little test, even a test of nuclear weapon in this small territory is dangerous for us. The radiation, the cost of the radiation, we cannot handle that. So we should not even think about nuclear weapons in any way. So, Honorable Speaker, if you look at page 20, point 10, the last paragraph, you will see the quote, "The provisions of this treaty shall not be interpreted as restricting the international exchange of data for scientific purposes." So we can go and have nuclear technology to build our energy and all these things that we need it for, but it is nuclear weapons and nuclear explosives and nuclear testing for weaponry. That's what this is opposed. If it is about technology or that matters, yes. And you know, if you come to point 6 on the same page, it says, "Without prejudice to the right of state parties to protect sensitive installations, activities or locations not related to this treaty, state parties shall not interfere with elements of the verification regime of this treaty or with national technical means of verification operating in accordance with paragraph 5. So we'll be checking each other. Yes, if you say you have nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, but we'll be checking each other to see whether it is peaceful purpose or it is not peaceful purpose. That is something that is already there. In addition to what my honorable friend said, that you can withdraw anytime you want to withdraw if you feel that things are not going the way it is anticipated. Honorable Speaker, like I said, the need to muster courage. There must be countries that will have to have the moral courage to exert pressure on others that have. United States, yes, it's a very powerful country. But if the whole international community galvanized together and put pressure on the United States, if you go through it, you'll see that Russia has signed. China did not sign yet, but Russia has signed. And that's the balance of power in the world. And all European countries have also signed. So we already have a balance of power. We small countries, we are meant to exert moral pressure. But the big powers, if Russia signed and the United States did not sign, any country that attacked another country with nuclear weapons, you know that other countries that have nuclear weapons will attack you. And that is the annihilation of the world. That's what we are trying to discourage. So on the basis of this, Honorable Speaker, I will not take long, but encourage and urge my members to please look at this and ratify it, so that we don't create any suspicion that we are a country that is hostile to our neighbors or hostile to the world, or we have any ulterior motive of any kind. That is what is going to save us, not the other way around, of pretending that we can also create nuclear weapons. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Central Badibu, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the motion before us is not timely. As far as I'm concerned, the ministry has a lot of issues that we can deal with in order to promote security of our territory, both internal and external. Honorable Speaker, and the benefits that are stated here, the benefits, as far as I'm concerned, they are very cheap for a country to go into such kind of ratification. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at the whole idea of comprehensive nuclear test and ban treaty, Gambia, we are not producing anything that is harming the globe as far as nuclear weapons are concerned. So the countries that are producing is their main challenge. So if we are not seeing those countries signing or ratifying, why the Gambia with the Ross? Why the panic with the Gambia? Why are we so much, desperate for ratifying this? I think cautions need to be taken. We need to, take our time and really, focus on other issues that are present issues as a country. We see what is happening in the sub-region. Everywhere is destabilized. I think it's high time the ministry to focus on that, how Gambia can be secure. These are things, that can come later. Nobody is calling for nuclear weapons to be used in a war. We all know what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, but it was designed by their leaders. Who created that? They were all man-made. Because they want to exercise their military superiority. They consulted their scientists and they work on it to make sure that they finish those nations. Those ones cannot be used as a reference when we are talking about this treaty as far as Gambia is concerned. Honorable Speaker, I believe, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to support it. I'm not in for it. I believe the ministry has more pressing issues as far as our security is concerned, as far as the foreign troops that are in the country here, how we can make sure that they leave the country and our men be in charge. Thank you.
Sanjal is out. Any more interventions? Honorable members, before I call on the Honorable Minister to respond to the issues raised. Okay, thank you very much. Well, in the absence of any more interventions from honorable members, may I now call on the Honorable Minister, as the mover of the motion, to respond to the various issues raised by honorable members and to wind up the debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, honorable members. Quite very interesting. I really listened to various interventions, and I want to place on record that it's quite healthy that you can hear people giving their own interpretations and their own opinions of what's going on. I would first of all want to place on record my appreciation that at this stage of my country that I call the Gambia, whom I have served since December 1981 when I was a private soldier, and now ascend to the level of a Ministry of Defense. And I'm very grateful to God Almighty that I witnessed today that I can sit comfortably without feeling any pressure to listen to honorable members of parliament to give their contributions. I want to say thank you for that. I brought this here because we have seen that the interests outweighs the odds. That's all we're here. That's why I'm doing it. You have to have workshops. You have to have conferences. You have to have capacity building. Honorable members, this is about foreign policy. Honorable members, this is about international best practices. Honorable members, this is not about You have some other things to think of. No. What we used to call in the armed forces, anticipation at all levels. You don't want to wait for things to happen, honorable member. I think somebody said, oh, we have to wait. There's nothing like waiting. I have to respect people's opinion, but my response is the national interest of the Gambia. Every country has national interests. Is it our interest to sign, not about ideology of the Cold War or what happened 50, 60 years ago? That is history. We are now, honorable members, going into a defense space with this country having the first ever defense policy of the Gambia. With the first time this country has got national security policy, national security strategy. Honorable members, all these are culminating into us moving into international best practice. I would have to, of course, respect opinions of the senior honorable member here, Woolley West, and several others. Well, I want us to think beyond the ideologies of the Soviet Union and the Western powers. This is now about our future. The generation Gambians who should build capacity to be able to now be called scientists. This is why we are bringing this bill here. It's nothing, it's the National Assembly who will make a decision, and the Gambians will see what they want. As a Gambian, my job as a Minister of Defense is to see that this is what is best for Gambia, but I am one person and a ministry. The lawmakers will make the call. 185 countries have signed. 170 have ratified. 11 have not signed. 26 in total have not ratified. So Gambia will now have to decide whether to be part of the 185 countries or to be part of the 11. That's for the Gambians' call. For me, my duty is to bring this forward to honorable members to tell you that the best thing for Gambia and the future is for us to sign this treaty for one reason. Let us start building capacity of our young Gambians for the future so that they can compete internationally. They can participate into offices around the world. They can be appointed at highest levels around the world because they are part of this treaty. So we need to look at the defense space of the Gambia. Look at our geopolitics. What is our interest? A country that was taught that can never be a country. And Sadauda of blessed memory proved them wrong. The prophecies of doom. And now we're here as a Gambia, respected around the world, I can say that. I just flew out of Geneva a few days ago, and all the institutions we visited that had to do with this felt that the Gambian democracy is a mature democracy. It's not me who said it, it's on record. Now we've received the director of DCAF, this is the Democratic Center for Good Governance and so in Geneva, now in the Gambia, because of what? They believe that we are moving on the right lines. When it comes to security, when it comes to issues like this, I appeal that we have to be very mindful and avoid to be sentimental or to attach sentiments on issue. I have to respect the ideologies of our elders because they are also looking at things from another perspective. But I want to go on record and say that this is best for Gambia, at least to give us to start. We can have our young people now to start to be scientists. Let them sit in conference with people around the world to justify what is the interest of Gambia. This is all about what is our national interest, what is our foreign policy. It has to do with our foreign policy. So this is a very important bill, honorable members, and the instruments of power. When you are part of these organizations, you have more leverage. So we feel that no, it's not time for us, let us wait. Whilst 185 countries are signed, and we still feel that we should wait. In fact, we are behind schedule. With all due respect, honorable members, I think this is not for me or for even, it's for young Gambian scientists who should now be given the opportunity to come to world platforms. And with all due respect to this, the very honorable senior member of the well-respected gentleman, please look at it in that perspective. Don't look at it as the geopolitics of Russia or America or China. They are playing their politics based on their national interest. Gambia is Gambia, sovereign Gambia. We are also looking at what is our interest. I believe as a Minister of Defense, with consultations with the Ministry of Justice, our own Ministry of Justice, to do some homework and advise and give legal opinions with the team I've got, with the consultations we've done around the world. I think I want to put your mind in rest that we have nothing to lose in ratifying this. Instead, we can now bring a crop of new Gambians to start looking at these things, to build off, as some people said, nuclear energy, and lots of other benefits. Then our Gambians will be part of the world. We don't want to bring any suspicion. We don't want to bring, why are they not signing? What is the National Assembly doing? And people should put on record tomorrow that when we put up a motion, these were the members who said no. But what were their reasons? You have to respect their reasons, listen to their reasons, listen to their opinions. But to tell you the truth, the good that this country will benefit out of to join the 185 countries instead of the 11, so just wait. All 185 cannot be wrong and the 11 are right. But the national interest of the Gambia is that we have to tell them that we are saying no to nuclear, but we want now our generation to also bring Gambia to another level. We can even rectify the Gambia. Somebody said challenges with electricity. All this can be of interest when we start to organize workshops, start to learn, to build capacity. Our Gambian sons and daughters may have opportunities to serve in some offices around the world or to partake in world discussions about the future. Because we are moving on. All the countries are now with COVID and everything. Every country now should reassess and look at yourself and prepare yourself for the future. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I want to say thank you for giving it this consideration. And as a country, and as a security ministry and armed forces, and the foreign policy of the Gambia is beyond security. This is not about only the armed forces. It's about our foreign policy. How does the world see the Gambia in the map? That Gambia do not want to ratify anti-nuclear? Do they have any hidden agenda, any suspicion? And they start looking at stuff which is non-existent. We are known to be one of the most peaceful countries around the world. But we want to keep that legacy that our founding fathers has brought in this country. We didn't have much. Sir Dawda Jawara of blessed memory, when he was arranging the Iran-Iraq war, when he was chairman, it was one of the smallest countries in Africa and the world, but they gave him the chairmanship. With Dr. Omar Jah, when he was ambassador of the Gambia in the United Nations. Lamin Kiti Jabal, some senior Gambians, it's because of their character and dignity that the war respected them. Not because we didn't have money, because we are very poor. But we have human capacity. We have our core values as a country. We want to do what is right. Madam Speaker, honorable members, once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity as a Gambian to come before you to tell you that this is what we believe after consultations, that this is best for Gambia to ratify. And if we have objections in the future or we have reservations, this honest can come back and look for avenues of redress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. May I also thank everybody, all honorable members, for their interventions and contributions. And I now put the question, be it resolved that this, Honorable Assembly do ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Now, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. No. I think it's very obvious that the ayes have it. So the ayes have it, and I thank everybody, as I said. And I now put the question, be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned till Thursday, the 9th of September 2021 at 10 a.m. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. The Assembly now stands adjourned till Thursday, the 9th of September 2021 for the State of the Nation address by His Excellency the President at 10 a.m. prompt. I thank you all for your kind attention. We're now adjourned. Thank you.